Takini Copper-King, please.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. Yukon saw a 44% increase in housing prices over the 5 years between 2006 and 2011. In 2012, the Yukon Real Estate Survey recorded the average house sale as $428,000. These numbers explain why mobile homes are an affordable homeownership option for many Yukoners. In order to pay mortgages on their mobile homes, Yukoners prepare budgets based on their incomes, their debt load, and on the constantly increasing cost of living. But for mobile homeowners, pad rental increases that have no limit are literally impossible to budget for. In one local trailer park, pad rentals have increased 45% in the last 6 years. Does the minister responsible acknowledge that a 45% increase in trailer park pad rentals over 6 years could easily blow the budget of local homeowners?
Minister of Community Services.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. And first of all, what I would note to the member is that, in fact, the changes that have been made to the Residential Landlord-Tenant Act, or pardon me, the new act put into effect, does place some degree of limitations about the frequency of rent increases that can be charged to Yukon citizens, and of course, any cost increase, whether it's for pad rental, apartment rental, the cost of fuel, the cost of food, any of those costs that are significant in a family's budget. Of course, those have a significant impact on affordability. And that, of course, is a good part of why we've continued to make investments in areas including developing new lots, because the availability of affordable lots on the market is a key part and starting point in the availability of both homes for private sale and the home ownership portion of the housing market, as well as it has a significant effect on the availability of rental housing. And of course, as the member knows, we've made investments in other areas, including the down payment assistance program to help Yukoners afford their first home.
First supplementary.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. I think an unlimited increase once every 12 months is impossible to budget for any mobile homeowner. Trailers are an important and affordable part of Yukon's housing continuum, but there are clearly some downsides, like having to rent the trailer pad, and the fact that there is no limit to the increase of that rent from year to year. One solution, of course, is putting a reasonable limit on the rental increases, a solution used in many jurisdictions across Canada. Owners of mobile homes could prepare their budgets according to predictable increases. In Whitehorse, the total income from pad rentals for mobile park owners can be as much as 8 to 10 times the cost of both property taxes and the city's sewer and water services. Does the Yukon Party plan to do anything to help mobile homeowners facing out-of-control pad rental increases?
Minister of Community Services.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. And what the member appears not to be aware of is the fact that she's not the first person to advocate for rent controls. Rent controls have been tried in many jurisdictions, not only within Canada but also within the United States. There's also clear research that demonstrates that over time the net effect of rent controls is a reduction in the availability of the number of affordable housing choices. So I understand why the member is advocating that type of a policy approach. She's not the first person to advocate that with the best of intentions, but the evidence is clear that over time rent controls result in a reduced amount of availability of affordable housing. That's why we've taken steps such as we have through measures including the down payment assistance program to help Yukoners purchase their first home, the work that is currently underway with the Northern Housing Trust money to leverage that $13 million into a $26 million, or at least $26 million in investment in affordable housing. And so we are going to work in areas that have been shown to be, through policies that have been shown to be more successful than the approach that the member is advocating.
Final supplementary.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. I was referring to pad rental increases. This continuum of affordable home ownership is becoming less affordable. Unlimited pad rental increases are not sustainable for many tenants, but there are very few options left to them. That's why the trailer park owners can get away with increasing the pad rentals so often. Some tenants end up in a catch-22 situation where they can no longer afford the monthly dues, but selling puts them in a worse overall financial situation. The government refuses one solution, which is to put a reasonable limit on pad rental increases like we've seen in BC and Ontario. Another way to support this affordable kind of home ownership would be to increase the stock of affordable trailer pad properties for sale. Will the government investigate and then commit to developing more lots for trailers like Arkel, where the trailer pad lots are not rented but owned by the mobile home owner?
Minister of Community Services.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. What the member is referring to in identifying the types of lots to be developed is, in fact, something that is primarily a choice for the City of Whitehorse to make. They have the lead, as agreed to through the Land Development Protocol and through their powers under the Municipal Act for the official community plan. So, in fact, they have led the design of Whistle Bend and will continue going forward to lead the design of the future phases of Whistle Bend, as well as next developments after that. So, again, the member's specific suggestion is something best addressed to the City of Whitehorse because we respect the fact that they have the lead in that area. And, Mr. Speaker, it should also again be noted that the limitation on increases of rents is under the new Residential Landlord-Tenant Act restricted to once annual increases. Again, I would point out to the member that rent controls, whether it be for apartments or through pad rentals, she's advocating for trailer parks. The evidence is clear that where rent controls have been implemented with best of intentions by jurisdictions both large and small outside the Yukon, the net effect over time has been a reduction in the availability of affordable housing. That's why we're taking other approaches that have been proven to be more successful.
Leader of third. Member for Takini Copper King, please.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. Yesterday, I pointed out that some mobile homeowners have seen pad rental increases of 44% since 2007. All the minister could say is that the new Landlord and Tenant Act ensures that those unlimited increases happen only once a year. In spite of his selective memory, the minister should know that the new act isn't yet in effect, despite a government promise that it would come into force in 2013. But even when the law comes into force, it will not put an end to unlimited annual increases for mobile home owners. The minister's failure to fix the problem is shameful. Can the minister explain to Yukon mobile homeowners how having their rent increased by $100 once a year is going to be better than having their rent increased by $50 twice a year?
Minister of Community Services.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker, and I appreciate where the member is coming at this from, but as I pointed out to her yesterday, the evidence is quite clear in areas that have tried to put in place rent controls that the net effect over a long period of time is that it actually decreases the availability of affordable housing. That's why the approach that we've taken is targeting our investments in other areas, including the down payment assistance program to help families purchase their first home, through investments in allowing people to upgrade their existing housing stock through programs under Yukon Housing, as well as through areas including the Northern Housing Trust money that is currently in the process of going out through an approach that will leverage that $13 million into at least $26 million in investment in affordable rental housing. So again, we're taking approaches that have been successful in other jurisdictions. The approach that the member is advocating is one that I am quite certain she is doing so with best of intentions, but in fact the evidence is clear those approaches over time reduce the availability of affordable housing.
For supplementary.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. The minister's answer will be little comfort for mobile homeowners. They're still being gouged, and it looks like the government isn't going to do anything about it anytime soon. Jurisdictions across Canada have put reasonable annual limits on pad rent fee increases. It's a fair and simple way to balance the interests of both the landlords and the mobile homeowners. Nova Scotia, PEI, Ontario, Quebec, Manitoba, and BC all have these limits, and they're for a good reason. It's a very fair request, Mr. Speaker. Why is the minister refusing to help Yukon's mobile homeowners by ensuring there is a reasonable annual limit on pad rental increases?
Minister of Community Services.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. And as I answered the member yesterday, the same holds true. The experience from various jurisdictions, not only in Canada, but within the United States as well, shows that in municipalities and in jurisdictions where rent controls have been implemented over time, the net effect of rent controls, though well-intentioned, actually backfires and creates over time a reduction in the availability of affordable housing. We believe that more effective methods are the ones that have been tried and proven successful in other jurisdictions, which is exactly what we're doing, increasing the availability of affordable lots through developments such as the Whistle Bend development, providing for lots in most Yukon communities are currently available over the counter. That's a starting point for availability of accessible land as well. Through the Housing Action Plan, we are working with various stakeholders on developing additional actions to build on the significant investments we've made to date in the areas of seniors housing, social housing, and in areas such as the down payment assistance program aimed at helping Yukoners purchase their first home. So again, I appreciate the member's intention, but the policies she's adopting have been proven to be unsuccessful in other jurisdictions.
Final supplementary.
Mr. Speaker, the minister continues to refer to unnamed jurisdictions, where I've just last listed 6 Canadian jurisdictions where they have these limits on increases. Mobile homeowners are in a precarious situation. Like renters, they are vulnerable to decisions made by their landlords, including unlimited annual rent increases. But like homeowners, they have the responsibility to pay their mortgage for their mobile home. If you are the owner of a mobile home, you can't just pack up and leave. There are virtually no vacancies in other trailer parks where mobile homeowners can move if they cannot afford the pad rental increases. It turns out that mobile homes in the Yukon, Mr. Speaker, are not that mobile. Where can mobile homeowners go to find protection from unreasonable and unfair pad rental increases that threaten to make their mobile homes unaffordable?
Minister of Community Services.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. And as I again pointed out to the member yesterday, the Residential Landlord and Tenant Act is a piece of legislation that, though the member conveniently failed to acknowledge the fact that the NDP, during 3 terms in government, failed to take any action to amend this antiquated 50-year-old piece of legislation. It was this government that acted, first of all, with an all-party committee that made recommendations on how to proceed. Government built on that through legislation that was taken for public consultation. Regulations have just recently concluded public consultation. We are seeking input from landlords, tenants, and indeed all Yukoners who wish to comment, because changes to this legislation have an effect on all Yukoners who are either landlords or tenants, and we are focused on proceeding in a balanced manner. Again, the member has advocated for a form of rent controls, and as I pointed out to the member, I appreciate where that intention comes from, but the evidence is quite clear that where rent controls have been implemented by municipalities and on a larger scale over time, they lead to a reduction in affordable housing despite their intention. So no, we will not be adopting the approach the member advocates for. We have proceeded with other investments that we believe will be more successful in increasing availability of affordable housing.
Time for question period has now elapsed.